Hey guys, have you ever wondered what makes people so successful? Like, what things do they do differently? Those property investors who are successful, what do they do differently? Because success is determined by the choices we make and obviously the actions we take. These might seem less valuable sometimes, but actually the biggest factor that make, 2% successful people of the world different from the rest. The highly successful people, I think they take action without actually getting afraid of challenges and risks. It's not that challenges and risks, even right now with interest rates going up and so much uncertainty, it's not that the risks don't exist, but they don't get afraid of them. They make choices that are unique, that are smart, that yield great outcomes. So being in an uncomfortable position, but being comfortable in that uncomfortable position is what it takes. Being in a comfortable shelter has only allowed a person to achieve average. But if you're actually looking to become a part of a highly successful person, always ready to grab an opportunity and take action, like that is the mindset that it really takes to invest through multiple cycles, multiple, periods of interest rates rising and falling, recessions, booms, oil prices up, oil prices down, losing jobs, getting jobs, kids, growing up, etc. That is what it takes to be a successful property investor. So if you don't have that or you don't want to achieve that, then just, turn the podcast episode off right now. It's just a waste of time. But if you actually think you have what it takes, then carry on watching, because today in this episode, we'll talk about how to create an exact strategy to get passive income from property investing and actually, retire early. I'm not saying retire tomorrow or in 2 years' time, but retire earlier than you would have otherwise been able to. You need to trust the math. You need to demolish the execution. So in this episode, we kind of ignore the marketing and what most spruikers tell us, and we go straight to the math and modeling. So stick around, and I hope you get a ton of value from it. Welcome to the Oz Property Investment Mastery Podcast. My name's PK, and I help busy people build passive income by buying top 5% growth and positive cash flow property and build a portfolio using data without wasting months doing research, spending weekends at inspection or catching flights, or dropping $10,000 to $20,000 on buyer's agents every single time. So if you're confused, lack confidence, and just overwhelmed with all the information and marketing misinformation available online and don't know where to start, then this show is for you. So I think, almost everyone that I come across in property circles, really everyone wants to achieve a passive income. Everyone wants that goal that in 10 years time from now, or 15 years time from now, or in 20 years time from now, everyone says, I want to achieve a passive income because I want to have the option not to work. I don't know if my health will allow me to continue working in the way that I am now, or if you're married or have a spouse, hopefully one of us can stop working so that the other person can continue working, or both of us can reduce our hours so we can spend more time with the kids and things like that. All very normal, goals for everyone, sort of everyday people to have. But I find that when it comes to property investing, although everyone has these very noble goals and goals that we should all, I think, aspire to some extent, not many investors actually have a clear strategy to how to get there. And I think the word strategy gets thrown around a lot. A lot of people think that strategy means what property to buy or where to buy the property, right? They think that strategy means going on realestate.com and then figuring out the type of property that you should be buying, or going on realestate.com and figuring out which suburb you should be buying, or within the suburb, which street we should be buying. But really, strategy means only one thing, and that is, how am I going to achieve that passive income target that I've set for myself and my family?
So if your passive income target is $80,000 in 10 years' time, then how will you achieve that $80,000? If your target is $80,000 or $100,000 in 10 years' time, how exactly will you achieve that? Or if your target is at 80 or 100 or $150,000 in 15 years' time, or $200,000 in 10 years' time, or 15 years' time, or 20 years' time, how exactly is it that you will achieve this? Okay, and I want to ram home this message because strategy does not mean where should I buy a property. Strategy does not mean what type of property I should buy. Strategy, all it means is what is the goal and how will I get from where I am to the goal. So right now, you're probably thinking, look, I don't have much passive income or any. I might even have already some negatively geared properties. If I stopped working, I would have to apply for JobSeeker or I'd have to apply for Centrelink. How do you get from that situation to 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, being able to have a comfortable passive income, which means you don't have to work? Now, this is everyone selling this dream, but property investment in Australia, residential property investment, commercial property investment, it actually allows these dreams to be fulfilled. Okay, and it's not easy. It doesn't happen in 5 years' time, nor does it happen in 10 years' time if you don't have enough income right now. But the great thing about it is that if you start early enough, it is possible. Okay, so strategy means what is that passive income target that I'm chasing and how exactly am I going to get there? The how is the strategy. So how many properties will I need? How or what is the value of them that I need to anticipate, or what is the total portfolio value that I need in order to achieve that passive income target? How will I pay them down? Am I going to use my hard-earned money or am I going to use the market to pay down my properties? Am I going to be active or am I going to be passive? Do I have a family? Do I have a career such that I can't really, do a 5 townhouse development or 8 townhouse development or build rooming houses myself or, develop a large-scale land subdivision? Do I need to just rely on capital growth, right? And if so, how am I going to predictably predict short-term and long-term capital growth? Okay, so how active versus passive you want to be is almost one of the very, very first steps to developing a strategy. Strategy means, am I going to be active, develop, get my hands dirty, do subdivision, do renovation, all that stuff? Or am I going to be passive? And if I'm going to be passive, then I need to accept the fact that my passive income target is not going to be achieved as quickly as it could be achieved in a more active strategy. There's no right, there's no wrong, right? There's no binary decision here. It's not black and white. There's no right or wrong. Everyone's different. I'm different from you and you're different from me. And we're all different. So we all have our sleep at night factor. We all have our individual risk appetites. But the point that I'm trying to make is that if you have a passive income target, but you have no no strategy to get there, then you're just playing guesswork and it's very unlikely that you'll actually achieve your passive income target. Okay, so you need to know exactly how many properties you need. You need to know exactly what order you should buy them in, the sequence, the timing of them. Are you going to buy them all in the first 3 years, the first 5 years, the first 7 years? How are you going to space them out? What is the value of each property? What is the yield of each property? Which ones are you going to keep towards the end when you retire? And so therefore, what is the yield on those required to be? What is the capital growth that you need in order to actually achieve that portfolio value at retirement? How do you create a lending strategy? Will the bank give you a loan for 7 properties? Probably not. So how do we more intelligently approach lending? How do we more intelligently approach structuring of our loans, interest-only periods, interest-only principal and interest, different lenders, top tier, second tier, third tier? How do we put all of those variables in a bucket and shake it around and see what fits us in order to get us from our current situation, which is very little passive income, to our desired situation, which could be 50, 80, 100, 120, $150,000 of passive income in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, whatever the case may be. Okay, so strategy is not going on realestate.com and looking for houses. Strategy is not suburb selection, although both those things are incredibly important. Strategy is nothing but mathematics. Okay, so I know that not everyone likes numbers, but fortunately or unfortunately, when it comes to finances, when it comes to generating passive income, you need to develop a healthy relationship with numbers. And numbers don't lie. That's the great thing about it. It's math. It's arithmetic. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. Okay, so you need to model out, reverse engineer your passive income target. So I want to achieve, let's say, $100,000 in 10 years' time or 15 years' time. Reverse engineer mathematically the number of properties, the value of those properties, the yields, the growth assumptions, the deposit that you'll need, the borrowing capacity that you'll need now and in the future. How will your income grow? How will your household budget morph or evolve or transform in order to get to where you need to be? Which properties will you sell? Which will you keep? In the middle, which will you renovate? Do you want to renovate? Do you want to subdivide? Or do you want to be completely passive? How will this impact your lifestyle? Do you want to make sacrifices? Or do you want to buy a positive cash flow property with growth, short-term and long-term, so it doesn't affect your lifestyle? So hopefully all that is making sense. I can't talk about strategy in entirety right now. It's a big subject. To actually develop strategy takes about 3 or 4 hours once you know what you're doing. It's not a case of a 1-hour phone call, so I just want you guys to do the right thing by yourselves as well. Put the time in to create a strategy, put the work in, put the effort in. If anyone says that they will develop your strategy on a 45-minute phone call, it's not going to happen. You need to see the arithmetic, the math, the numbers, reverse engineering your passive income target all the way back to today and see how it's going to work. And you might come to a conclusion that actually there's no way I can achieve $100,000 in 15 years' time or in 10 years' time. With my income, with my current level of debt, with my existing portfolio, I just can't achieve that. Or you might come to the conclusion that $100,000 in 15 years' time is actually really conservative. I can achieve that in 10 years' time, or I can achieve 120 in 15 years' time, or whatever the case may be, right? So don't play smoke and mirrors with yourself and anyone else. If you're serious about property investing, if you're serious about generating a passive income, then put pen to paper, or even better, get out Microsoft Office, get that spreadsheet in front of you and start modeling. That is what is required, okay? Don't just take one step thinking about, I'll think about the next step in 2 days or in a week or in a year. Mark out all 10 steps from the very get-go. Yes, life changes, things happen, you might need to navigate differently, but you need to have a clear strategy. All 10 steps articulated, documented, numerated in a way that's commonsensical. And that allows you to then sleep at night thinking, if I just follow my plan, it's going to work because it's mathematics. If I just follow my plan, yes, I can give up work, or I can reduce my hours. I don't have to rely on my employment. I can spend more time with my family. It might be 8 years for you, it might be 10 years, it might be 12 years. For some of you, it might be 30 years, right? We're all different. The average person can achieve it. The average person can not rely on the pension when they retire if they start early enough, okay? And if they're educated. So if you're serious and you know how to do it yourself, then go right ahead and do it. But if you're serious and you don't know how to do it yourself, then there's plenty of people that can help. But just to reiterate what I've said, strategy is not going on realestate.com looking for suburbs or properties. Strategy is reverse engineering that passive income target that you've set for yourself and figuring out the exact steps, the exact methodology, relying on mathematics and mathematics alone to figure out how you're going to achieve a passive income for your family.
Well, I hope you did get a ton of value from it, guys. I'm just bringing you raw, authentic, real, warts and all observations, perspectives, insights from my 10, 12, 13 years of property investing. I hope you're valuing that. I truly do. I'm putting a lot of effort into it, so I hope that the effort is translating into more crystal clarity in your mind and in your knowledge base. If you want, leave us a review on Spotify or iTunes, but nonetheless, I'm always so grateful that you join me, and I'll see you next week. Catch you later.